Now, with only a couple of months left in 2025, I know a lot of you are probably at the start of this year said you're going to get in the best shape of your life, you're going to lose that body fat, you're going to try new things, you're going to enter competitions, you're going to get stronger, you're going to get fitter, and for whatever reason you haven't been able to get there. And from speaking to people and from my own personal experience, I think the biggest thing that I've seen that has been a stumbling block to people has been that they have the best intentions in the world, they have the best plans in the world, but they can't accumulate enough reps through their habits in order to actually get some sustainable progress. So for those who hadn't watched part one, my name's Sydney Joseph and I'm the founder of the Hybrid Formula. And over these next 5 videos, which this is part 2 now, we're going to talk you through the 5 steps that I would take to go from either being a beginner or transitioning into the hybrid world, and how to not drown in all the noise and all the BS. Now, in episode 1, we talked about identity and how you have to restructure the way you think and the things that go into who you are in order for this transition to be successful. Now, in part 2, like I said before, we're going to start talking about some habits and how to establish some habits in order to actually put enough reps in to become good at this. Because like any new skill, it's going to take time and it's going to take reps in order for you to get there. So that's why I created what I call the habit stacking system. And it's a way for me to give you some tricks and tips that you can use to go and actually start to build some habits that's going to get you to where you want to get to, and eventually it run on autopilot and be like everything else that you want to get out of life. So strap in, this is episode 2, all about habit stacking. Now, what we're going to cover in this episode, or in part 2, is discuss why environment's important, discuss or learn the systems that I use in this habit stacking system and how it leads to success, how the tribe and the people you've got around you play a bigger role than you actually think, creating a non-negotiable list, which there's some things you can't evade. I can give you everything, I can give you tips, tricks, everything you need, but then you have to go and do the work, and some work you absolutely can't avoid and there's no shortcuts to it. How to break bad habits and behaviours, and then how to hang in there when things start to get a little bit tougher. This system sets us up for the foundation for everything we're going to do come parts 3, 4 and 5. I've got a little picture here of Mr. Chris Williamson and a little bit of, I'm not plagiarising here, I've given him his flowers and I've said that we don't rise to our goals, but we fall to our systems. So we have to have systems in place. We can't just think that we're going to get to where we want to get to without setting some systems and putting things in place. Like I said before, everybody has the best intentions, but then when everything hits the fan and the lock goes off, you got to have something to fall back on that's going to stop you from just pressing the self-destruct button. And that's why we create habits and we stack them on top of each other. And for those who've read Atomic Habits, if you haven't, go and read that book. This will make a lot more sense. But one of the big principles that is said in Atomic Habits is that to build sustainable systems, you don't make them from scratch. We build new habits from existing ones. Now what this does is it does 2 things. It removes the fear and the overwhelm of having to start something new. So for those people who are either new to hybrid training or want to start and incorporate running and functional fitness, that on its own is a big challenge to kind of put pieces together. So if you have, or if you're not able to stack habits easily, it's going to put you off from wanting to start, or you're not going to have enough reps and skin in the game to actually get to where you want to get to. So this makes it seem less daunting and more sustainable as well, is the second thing that we get from not building new habits, but using habits we already have to form new ones. For example, if I know I want to go to the gym early in the morning, And I know something that stops me from going is not having enough time or not having enough preparation. Rather than saying I'm going to wake up half an hour earlier, which is a brand new habit, and when life gets in the way, that's going to be one of the first things to falter and fall away, is we say, okay, before we go to bed, I always set my uniform for the next day before I go to sleep. I put my shoes out or I put my clothes out. If I do this, if I then just put my stuff that I'm going to wear to the gym out as well, I'm using a habit that I already have, which is putting my clothes out. And I'm also stacking another habit on top of that, that is the exact same as this one, but is actually going to give me 15-20 minutes the day after, that I don't have to think about it, and I don't have to set a new habit by setting a new alarm or setting an earlier alarm. That's how the habit stacking system works, and that's a big thing that James Clear talks about in Atomic Habits. And again, the reason that I've just brought that up is to say that your environment matters, and this is why I've created the winning ecosystem. And again, another little line or tagline or quote that I like is, your environment is the invisible hand that powers or that shapes human behavior. So everything that we do is powered by our environment, whether we like it or not, whether we're aware of it or not, it's powered by our environment. And we can't change our behavior and build new habits and break old ones even until we change our environment. Hence why I've created the winning ecosystem, and this uses that invisible hand. Rather than trying to shy away from it, we use that to drive lifelong transformation by again making this autopilot, which is what the main goal is to have things running seamlessly. Now, why is this important? Well, the reason your environment is important is because, like I said before, it's the thing that powers everything you do. Willpower, like I've put here, and I've actually jumped the gun, willpower is so overrated. If I am using something that is finite and runs out as a tool to help me, same with motivation. We all know motivation is fleeting and it's an emotion. So why would we use it to power things that we do when that's going to run out? Same with willpower. If we constantly keep having to say no to a lot of social occasions, or no to going out all the time for food, or no to biscuits in the cupboard, that's going to run out eventually and we're going to crash. So instead, we build an environment around us that means that we don't need to use willpower, and we've got, one, those habit stacking systems, and also two, a winning ecosystem. And again, the reason it's important, and another reason why I use it, is because when you do crash, which inevitably will happen, or life will get in the way, it's important to know the steps that went into that big crash or you going off plan. And I just ask the 5 questions that we all know: who, what, where, why, and how. Who was there when you went off plan? Why did it happen? Was it work got hard? Was it something that's happened personally that you couldn't get on top of? So then you turn to something like a comfort, like food or going out, and having a few days where you go on a bender. What were you doing when that thing occurred? How did it happen? Were you sat on the couch watching Netflix, and before you know it, you've cracked open a pack of biscuits and you've nailed the whole thing? And where are you? Is it work? That's a trigger. Is it home? That's a trigger. Is it bed? That's a trigger. Is it your car? That's a trigger. All of these things we have to set up to where willpower becomes overrated and we can just rely on them habit stacking systems that we've set in place. Last 2 things here. One that's very important and I think is very, very overlooked, and something that when I was doing my journey a couple of years ago, I documented it. Not to show everyone that I've got abs now or I'm getting leaner, but because I knew every time I put a post out every week or every day and I'd feel demoralized, or I'd feel a bit lazy, or I'd feel unmotivated, people held me to a standard now because I said I'm going to do something and I actually went out and done it. Now, the thing you have to remember, or what I would say, is don't go on this journey alone. The thing that will happen to you if you do this journey with people is it'll give you two things. Number one, it'll give you a group of people that will celebrate your wins. So like I said earlier, I had a group of people that every time I check in would say, well done for your progress this week, well done for your amount of weight that you've lost this week, keep your chin up if something happened and I was open about it. They celebrate your wins with you. And changes stick when they're reinforced. So it's like a child. If you reinforce good behavior with a child, they'll continue to do it. The same with you. The reason you go to work every single day, month on month, year on year, is because the reinforcement is they give you some money to keep coming back. It's the exact same with this. If you have a tribe of people around you that keep picking you up when you're down, motivating you, it's going to stick with you. Point number 2 is it'll give you more people to hold you accountable. Again, the other side of the coin is you're going to have times that are hard. So you're going to need people that are going to be there to keep you accountable and won't accept your BS. Basically, will call you out on it when you're making excuses, when you say you're going to do something and you don't go and do it. They'll check you and say, well, you said you're going to do that. I thought this was important to you. You've talked all the time. Now go and walk the walk. I think that's very important to you, because then on the other side of the coin, on this fence, you'll have people who say, if you pick your tribe wrong, which is the big warning that I've got here, is if you pick your tribe wrong, whenever you do have down days, people say, oh, well done for what you've done so far. Just give up now. Come have a drink with us. Let's go out and binge, or whatever it may be, something to make you actually fall off track. If you don't pick the right people, or if you go alone, the big warning is you're not going to have people that are going to be there to catch you when you trip over, because you inevitably will. And like I've just said here, you pick the wrong tribe, you're setting yourself up to fail. Then on a day-to-day basis, attaching onto the habit stacking system, I've created the daily game plan. So this is a way to map out your non-negotiables. So I said earlier, there's things you can't avoid. If you're trying to lose weight, you have to be in a deficit. If you want to get better at running, you have to run. If you want to get stronger, you have to lift heavy. If you want to increase your expenditure in a day, you have to go and get your steps. You can't avoid these things. Some things, there's no shortcuts, there's no replacements, you have to go and do them. So, but I also know that life gets in the way. Everyone's lives are different. Some people have more responsibilities in certain aspects. So this daily game plan is something that I set up with my clients that is specific to them. It's not cookie cutter. It's their own non-negotiable list. And these things fit into their lifestyle as it is right now. And here's how I'll break it up. So we have the daily focus points. Again, the things that they've got to get done, the boxes they've got to tick. We then have to find a way to manage their time. So for most people, they're going to have work, they're going to have family commitments, they're going to have other things that they're doing that will probably take more importance in terms of how many hours they've got in a day to do those things. For example, work, you have to be in a specific place at a specific time every single day. So we have to make sure that we get that penciled in early. We then build our daily game plan around that. So what time are you going to train? Are you going to train before or after work? What time are you going to prep your meals? Are you going to do it on a weekend or twice a week? What days are you going to do them on? And we try and get the big things done. We try and get the big things done first. So for example, if you've got a hard session, we try to get that done early if we can, if it fits into their life. Because again, the other thing you have to think of is the reinforcement of the increased dopamine. When you do the hardest task of your day first, everything else feels easy. And number 3, we have to know if we're making progress. So we've got to track these things, and we're tracking it to build some momentum. Once we get momentum, that's when progress starts. And when progress starts, that's when consistency kicks in. And then at that point, again, we're running on autopilot because we do not need motivation. And then I have something else called the soft touch points. It's just a way of me checking in with my clients 2-3 times a week, just saying how you're getting on, how are things, rather than waiting until Monday or Sunday, which is the traditional way that online coaches or coaches are doing things these days. I will just meet you where you are. If you're having a meltdown on a Tuesday morning, I'll meet you on a Tuesday morning. If you're having a meltdown on Friday night, I will meet you on Friday night with this daily soft touch point. And we link this with our habit stacking system in general to make sure that, like I said before, everything runs on autopilot. Because if we catch things early with our daily game plan, with our soft touch points, which we link every day, I set my client a task to check in with me about subjective and objective things, and then I just have a little brief read of it, and then if I need to intervene, I will. Because in the long run, you want everything to run on autopilot, and it kind of does. When you start to get a bit of a groove and momentum, like I said, then everything starts to run on autopilot. Number 3 here, something that I spoke about earlier, of eventually things will get hard, and you're not gonna want to carry on. Things are going to get hard. You're going to hit a wall at some point. Progress will stall. So me setting up the micro progression mindsets is just a way for you to keep mentally locked in when things get hard. So this system that I've put up is to change our mindset around our big goal by breaking it down into smaller units so we can create sustainable change. So small wins, we celebrate them. If you've just got a PB in a session, if you've managed to track everything for a week straight, we celebrate it. All these little things are seemingly inconsequential to your long goal, we track them, because by celebrating small wins, 1, these small wins compound over time, and 2, you're reinforcing good habits to keep doing them. Rather than always focusing on the big macro goal, so you want to lose 20 pounds, you want to race your first high rocks. If we celebrate these small goals, we can do that until we get to that big goal. 1, things work on autopilot if we do that. 2, reinforcement, and 3, before you know it, you'll actually reach that goal. And we're just looking for small 1% increases every day. Because if we do this and we celebrate the small things, these things are going to be sustainable, they're going to build momentum, and the long-term results come from these small wins. And all those little small steps that we make every single day that seems like nothing's going on lead to one big step eventually. And that, on a whole, is the habit stacking system. And you can see how easy it is. You can see how everything kind of falls into each other and helps each other. And on part 3, we're going to get a little bit techier. Going to start to talk about macros, how to fuel for your sessions, how to make sure you don't underfuel, how to make sure you're prepared across the board to power your sessions. So I'll see you on part 3.